to see who's here, see how big the march was going to be this year, and it's really gratifying to see so many young people there. I've never been a big believer in NAIDOC. I branded it in 1972. I put out a notorious poster that said, "Welcome to buy a bunga beer week," which to me summed up what it used to be all about, just token gestures toward the Aboriginal community. But one day of the year, then you can forget us for the rest. That was my attitude 50 years ago.
Well, have things improved in the past 50 years?
Nothing's improved in the past 50 years. And, well, the planet's got a bit hotter. Very little has changed in Aboriginal Australia. The incarceration rates are worse today than they were 50 years ago. And 50 years ago, we were among the most incarcerated people on the planet. Now, that's as good an indicator in any purported democratic society as to the state of the most disadvantaged and the most vulnerable. So, people can say things have changed. The only thing we've got is four or five useless black voices in Parliament, apart from Lydia Thorpe. So we've already got a voice in Parliament that nobody takes any fucking notice of. So, to be advocating yet another Aboriginal advisory body, when you look at the history, and I'm speaking as a historian now, historian teaches you that, that people don't learn from the lessons of history, and the lessons of history show that every single Aboriginal advisory body that's ever existed in the history of Australia has been completely ignored, and at the moment when it started saying stuff that was too controversial for governments, they were closed down. Now, no government ever needed a referendum to create just an advisory body, so why run the risk of having a referendum now in a much more polarised nation that Australia is? This is not 1967 anymore. They're not going to get another result like that. We've just had 40 years of culture wars and Pauline Hanson and One Nation and the Sky After Dark and the Murdoch tabloids peddling their vicious, misinformation about Aboriginal people. This, like I say, there's already evidence that this is a much more polarised nation, and there's a real threat that the yes vote won't get up, and if it don't get up, it'll be a disaster for Aboriginal Australia, because it'll give politicians the excuse they need to ignore us for another 50 years. Well, just like they did after the last referendum.
The voice to Parliament enshrined in the Constitution the right of the advisory body of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people to speak to government, and the government has to listen.
No, they don't. It's an advisory body.
But they have to listen to it.
No, they don't. No, they don't. They've had to listen to their earlier versions. Just because it's enshrined in the fucking Constitution doesn't mean they have to listen to it. It is an advisory body, therefore, by definition, does not have to be listened to. And history clearly shows that politicians of all persuasions, political persuasions in the past, have completely ignored the advice that was offered by Aboriginal advisory groups. Now, people either learn from their lessons of history or they continue stumbling on in the stupid way they have ever since the last referendum.
So, are you against this present voice to Parliament, the referendum? Would you be voting no?
I won't be voting. I never voted. I never voted in my life. I'm not an Australian citizen. I'm a member of the Gumbaynggirr Nation. We never ceded our sovereignty, so that's why I've never voted in my life. By signing up on the Australian electoral roll, I would be signing up on the electoral roll of a foreign country. Why should I want to do that? Because in the process I would be ceding my sovereignty. Fuck that. So I won't be voting.
What's your advice to people
My
about the
advice to
voice
people
referendum?
is very simple. It doesn't matter whether you vote yes or no. The one thing you can be guaranteed of is that nothing will change. Just like nothing changed in 1967. You know, so doesn't matter which way you vote. Nothing, won't have the slightest effect on what happens to Aboriginal people in the future. The future of Aboriginal people is in their hands, not in the hands of racist white voters of the rest of Australia. C'est la vie, as they say in Goombanja.